Welcome back to the Stuff or Whatever podcast. Speak Wanchi O'Brien here. So before I get started, I always try to get in the habit of saying, like, comment, and subscribe. That's the best way to support the channel, as well as follow me on Twitter for updates and other fun tweets, as well as Twitch. I do stream gaming. Those VODs also here on my YouTube channel. They get uploaded in a timely manner. But yeah, I always just try to get a habit of, saying that to see what happens. I know it's kind of a one guy operation, a solo podcast, among other videos. I've been kind of inspired of making other videos too. I'm very limited, but there's some in the back of my mind, so might do some more stuff on the channel, but we'll see. I think that's one thing that would help motivate is having some of acknowledgement, like from audience, or there'd be like interactions, suggestions, or feedback and stuff like that. I said it before, I'll say it again, that it'd be nice to have more of a structure in terms of like maybe doing like interactions, even like advice or reacting to stuff in terms of um, I don't know, just whatever or stuff or whatever. That's the name of the podcast. And also next week, I'm not going to do a podcast just because it's Thanksgiving here in America. And I think that's also a nice thing too, since it isn't like so big. I don't feel that commitment. I have other obligations in sort of work, and just nice to take a break. So yeah, and I think with the holidays too. So I try to be. Sometimes I don't know if it's just I loosely use the word content creator for me. I don't feel like I'm creating much, but it's something I'm making an effort, and I think sometimes it's just I don't kind of maybe zen or just kind of like I'm working on something and it kind of feels constructive, even if no one really cares or watch, but just some small consistent growth on a channel. I just like to see more like what works, what doesn't work. But I think just kind of going back to like streaming and stuff like that too, I feel like the puzzle type games are getting more attention. I'm gotta do more because I did the Piggle one and I uploaded like a gameplay because I've been also have to do like just gameplay just for fun, just to have like a created playlist of just like gameplay. Kind of reminds me back in the day. I forget the name of the exact program or show. It was on G4 TV before they kind of revived themselves, but I would say like cinema talk something like that. I know it had a word like cinematic in it, but I think a lot of times it was just them playing gameplay, whatever. So I do more of that. And also at the end of this podcast, I want to share a little recipe for Thanksgiving. It may be a good potluck recipe too, but just to throw that in there. I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about is the Grand Theft Auto games that just came out, the trilogy pack, and it's not good. Not as a double negative. I'm just repeating myself, so it's not good. I'm not sure if the place. I'm trying to think what platforms. Let me look up real quick. I've been hearing most of the issues is a Switch version, which is a shame too because I was tempted to get it. I remember hearing about it and thinking, oh, I remember I actually played all the games in the franchise, and yeah, it looks like it's on most. No, I'm looking. Oh, the article is kind of confusing because no, I think they released it before, and this is like a definitive edition because there's also the trilogy you mentioned for PlayStation 2. Okay, so I think they had a trilogy before, but the definitive edition is the remake. Okay, oh, $60 too. But yeah, PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X, and Switch. And I'm pretty sure I beat the main story of all games. I think 3 and Vice City I actually like 100% it or got most of the stuff, like all those packages. But the main thing is that it's really bad. It's a real shame too because I know Rockstar, like everyone loves Grand Theft Auto 5. The other recent release was Red Dead Redemption 2, which was really good. And it feels like this doesn't have that quality. I think maybe they kind of outsourced it or give it to another studio. And just wanted to share some things that I seen online, mostly like from Twitter and stuff like that. But Yeah, I think like graphics and bugs and stuff like that. But let me talk about the main ones I seen that I thought were funny because it was because I think one of the issues is probably maybe a shortcut, but I guess like the engine has like a I don't know what you want to call it, like AI or something like that, where it kind of like predict stuff, or kind of like and it makes it. I think it sounds more like a shortcut, but someone mentioned like the signs on stores in the game are different than original versions because it like auto predicts what the sign should say, and a lot of signs were like wordplay or jokes and stuff like that. So a lot of those get missed, or sometimes don't even make sense of what it puts in. And it helps out this one picture of, I believe it was a donut shop in a game. It's called like Tough Nut Donut, because on the sign top of the building there's like a donut and then there's two nuts, and basically in the definitive edition they were like everything was rounded including the nuts instead of having like I think a nut is a hexagon or something like that, but the nuts were completely round. Like, oh, yeah. So I'm not sure. Then people like saying the character models look really bad and all that too. But I'm just wondering if they just did a lot of shortcuts. But one other funny bug I saw was like the cars get bigger. Like someone was just driving around to show this off, but if you just like wiggle your car back and forth, it gets like bigger and bigger. And it's not like the camera's messing up, but the vehicle appears to get actually bigger and kind of messes with the game. But yeah, because like I said, when I heard that was coming out, like I might get that. It might be fun to have it on a Switch because I think that was a big appeal to me is the Switch, playing on a Switch. But then the price tag is pretty high for essentially PlayStation 2 games that came out. And yeah, I'm glad to jump on board because I guess there's a lot of refunds, especially for the Switch versions being requested or given out and stuff like that. Some people are saying it's worse than the Cyberpunk 20. Was it 20? What was the Cyberpunk? Let me look that up. I'm spacing out on the year, but the Cyberpunk game that came out last year, saying it might be worse than that. And it was, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. Okay. Yeah, but some people are saying that was worse. And I think kind of the thing that kind of feels like a little gross about it, it kind of feels like it's trying to sell a game based on nostalgia. So they think like, oh, because these are previous games, we can just put out whatever product and whatever quality, and it'll get loved or make a lot of money. And I think that's being contradicted or whatever. So yeah, so we'll see. Because I remember even seeing like Rockstar's working on updates like right away. But if you have to worry about updates right away after the game's released, and maybe it wasn't ready to come out. Okay, I was trying to find more about the Grand Theft Auto games quickly, but I gotta say a lot of it seems to be graphical, and I think also like the PlayStation 5 version even suffers from what you call it game not gameplay frame rate, that from frame rate. So but I think like the Switch port is the worst version of the game, and like yeah, that's a shame because that's the one I was looking at getting, but nope. And it's like one of the things like I play the game, so I think if I were to revisit the series, because I believe San Andreas was the last one I played, but if I were to get back in the series, I would want to play the latest game. Because what? Probably couldn't look it up too, but I remember Grand Theft Auto 5 having like a ridiculously high budget, like extreme. Like I think it maybe set records for the highest budget game out there. I'm not sure if it's a lot of that's marketing as well, but yeah, but I think that paid off for them. But yeah, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy seems like a big mess. But moving on, I wanted to talk about another game I just heard about today, and I think there's been kind of rumors and screenshots about a game with mashes of different characters, but it's called Multiverse. I think they dropped a lot of it, the word today, but people seen screenshots. Like, it's a lot of like Cartoon Network stuff like Steven Universe and Adventure Time, as well as a lot of DC heroes like Superman and Batman. And it looks really good. I think it's going to be free to play. It is a shame that it's not coming to Switch from what I've seen. Yeah, I can pull it up. I'm pulling up Twitter right now. But yeah, I think they just dropped like a trailer. Oh, it also has Shaggy from Scooby Doo, Tom and Jerry, Bugs Bunny. And the big thing is this looks like it's going to have a lot of like voice acting in different costumes. Kind of, you know, that was a lot of the criticisms of the the Nickelodeon All Star Bros because that didn't have like any voice work audio. The music was kind of. Looking at it, you can look it up. Multiverses. I apologize. Multiverses is the name of the title, but it looks like they have a lot of the characters that play the character in one way or another. Like Tara Strong as Harley Quinn, Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. Um, I believe Jeremy Shada was the voice of Finn in the cartoon, but I know Estelle was Garnet. Yeah, they have Garnet in the game. I'm glad I have him, John DiMaggio as Jake the dog, and all that. But yeah, I'm not sure how it's gonna be, but it looks a different lot better. Like that was a shame of the Nickelodeon's one because I felt like it fell really, really short. For what it was, like it's. I think it's one. I never actually played it myself. I might pass on it now, but I think it's one of the best, like at least very competent knockoff of Super Smash Bros. Because it's like when it's I have Super Smash Bros. Right, where I want to play that game or buy that game, but Multiverse is something that looks really cool. It's going to come out next year, from what I've been seeing for a 2022 release. A free to play platform brawler, and yeah, just looking at it, it looks like it has a similar kind of like fighting engine to Super Smash Bros. But it looks like it's probably going to be like 2 versus 2 at the most in terms of the size of the battles. But it looks really good from what they showed off, so I do recommend checking that. It's going to come to PC as well. I'm not sure if that's going to be like via Steam or anything like that. So I would definitely want to play the PC version. Let me just pull the website real quick. Um, yeah, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series X, and PC is what they say. So maybe to Steam, or maybe it might be. I know like some of those. Which one? I know like Epics have one. I think they have one. So I'm not sure if it's going to be its own little thing, which will be kind of annoying because having a different login. Um, but I would, and it also crossplay. It's free to play and crossplay. That's one of the big things. But yeah, it looks really cool. There's a lot of like DC. Some very few I don't recognize, but most of them I do. But I think fun additions like Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny. Um, I haven't watched a full trailer that they had out, so I'm not sure what the plan is in terms of how many different characters and all that. Yeah, but it looks really, really cool. So something to look forward to. Like in the levels, like from what they showed on, like I've seen like Finn and Jake's house from Adventure Time. Um, I think like a Wonder Woman stage. The stages at least look pretty big, and I'm not sure if they're gonna have like, because there's a customization, like there's different outfits, and I'm not sure if that's where they're gonna make the money, like the pay for skin and stuff like that too. It looks like there's a perk system too, so I'm not sure if that'd be the only shame if they if you like play and get experience and get perks to enhance your character, that kind of becomes a pay to win. So I guess that's my only concern. Just looking briefly what out there is the it's a possibility of a pay to win, but it looks really good. Like I think a lot of those, even in my opinion too, like games that are pay to win, I still have some enjoyment. Although I think a lot of those are like the solo like mobile games, so it's more like, hey, if you pay money, you can beat this level easier and stuff like that too, which I don't do. Um, but we'll see. But it looks really, oh yeah, and one of the stages is the Bat Cave. It looks really cool too. But yeah, definitely look out for that. And the random thing I wanted to talk about is this. I kind of developed a new pet peeve on Twitter, most kind of maybe more general with social media, but any social media that has like some form of a messaging system or inbox and stuff like that. But for me, it's mostly been Twitter. But my peeve is I hate those messages that are like, hey, can I ask you a question? And things like that. Like this message request. I think is more of the formal thing. I think that this bugs me because I don't want to feel like if I do respond, I'm obligated to answer the question and stuff like that too. Like if you could ask somebody a question, especially on social media, it's I get it if you want to do like a private message, that's totally fine. But I think just ask your question, just drop your question, because either one, I'm going to be annoyed that if I respond to that, then if I don't follow up with it and continue the conversation, then I'm going to be an asshole. And then also, like, if it's something you have to ask permission for, uh, then maybe it's not a question I want to hear, or maybe like a good question to ask. Maybe it's all good and fun, and I think maybe in the future, be more open to like requests if it's going to be collaborations or things like that. Not that I have much to offer. I do have a microphone and a computer, and that's pretty much it. And I don't know. So I maybe being more of a say yes kind of person, but some of them, like, if you're gonna message me on social media like Twitter, don't just say hi. Don't just say whatever. If it's like looking to collab or I think once or twice I got something from a company about like a clothing brand or stuff like that. Or I'm just looking through my message now. Like I used to have an affiliate program about like a furniture store for e-gamers or esports or whatever, and that's fine. I'd rather have the information than having being forced into a back and forth conversation. Especially it's like one of those things like, hey, if you answer, then it kind of opens the gate for them to keep on asking you stuff. And then the one thing I kind of get to is that people want to be polite and stuff like that too. I guess if it's more of a in-person conversation, I can get that like, hey, do you mind if I ask you something? Okay, but I think if it's just social media, people have the time of day to give ask whatever question you can or answer however they want and stuff like that. Just drop the full thing, and yeah. But I'm also kind of bad at checking those too. I think I mentioned Twitter because that's a little bit more visible. I did set an email box for this channel, secondary one. It's in the About It channel, and I rarely check it. And I'm not sure. I just recently checked it, and I don't think I missed any opportunities. But I guess to put it out there, if anyone wanted to contact me, like to collab or any other reason, Twitter is probably the best way. And I don't want to like force people to like, hey, you have to get a Twitter account to contact me. But I think that helps a lot. And I apologize, I'm kind of like clicking through like Twitter and stuff like that too. So you might hear feel little clicks of the mouse. And then another thing with social media, and this kind of made me like my personal little grievance too. But on Facebook, I have a very small group of Facebook friends and friends in general. So like, you know what, I'll give those because I feel like I'm not sure if it's just me, but Facebook's really been pushing like groups and stuff, as well as the reels, like the little TikToks or whatever video. Maybe not as short. I don't know anything about TikTok really besides just videos, but and a lot of those Facebook reels are taken from TikToks, but Facebook groups, because like I'll maybe join some groups just to see, maybe kind of like in a form sense and stuff like that. I am in a few, like a friend recommended one more. I'm not sure if it's more of a local kind of group of people kind of thing, but when you kind of like share memes and stuff like that, talk about like geeky stuff, but kind of like more focused on like gay groups, like gay men and stuff, because that's what I am. And it's like, hey, maybe kind of find more like minds. So I did one for like a gamer one, and one for like food stuff, like in the kitchen kind of stuff, and a lot of shirtless selfies. And I don't know, it gets cumbersome because I think it's also one of those things like when you join a group on Facebook, Facebook says, "Oh, you know what? Here, just shove every post from that group in your face." And my feed gets flooded from them just because like, "Oh, it's new. You want to see this. You want to see this." I see so many posts, and it's just kind of annoying too because I don't know. I guess I have my own little issues and insecurity, but it feels like when you see all these, especially like with cooking and stuff like that too, and you see them shirtless and stuff like that, and like it's like Instagram or stuff like that. Hey, look what I can do! Like I cook this, and I'm attractive and stuff like that. So I think one I laughed on, who knows? And again, it's kind of like my personal stuff too. But if I wanted to see a bunch of shirtless guys, I'll pull up Grinder or Scruff or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe that's just because it's a gay thing too. Because they like a lot of nerds do like selfies of like cosplay or the shirts or like they got the collectible or stuff like that. So if you want to take a selfie, you do you and all that. And I had moments like that too. I feel like confident, like I look good, or I would just want to post a recent pic of my mug. And also, a little side note, I do also have my Instagram in the descriptions and about me and stuff like that too. So if you want to follow my Instagram, it's not the most active, but you can see what I look like. I don't really be in front of the camera. I might have some old videos that I may take down. We'll see. I'll wait till the end of the year, but yeah, just my little blurry. It's just kind of annoying with Facebook groups in terms of like when you join a group, it shoves in your face, and then the groups I kind of came across just someone came with disappointment or whatever. But yeah, okay. And then now let's move on to I guess you could say a recurring segment on this podcast is the whatever report. So there's some crazy stories coming across. I may still have more, like I said, but going to skip next week, so I might have some more to share or build up. And still, I'm finding some good ones, but maybe need to make more effort to get more resources. But the first story takes place in Kentucky, where a woman stabbed her cousin after a dispute regarding a sex toy. Yeah, so that's it. That's correct. I talked about a stabbing, about a sex toys, and they are cousins. This took place in Kentucky, and when I read the story, it doesn't say what the toy is, but it belonged to her neighbor, which is also her cousin. And also to maybe kind of give some ideas, the cousin is a male. I'm not sure who the hell would even first off, who the hell would ask for a sex toy, and who the hell would let the family member borrow it? Like, for family member, anybody, just buy your own freaking sex toy or find other ways. But basically, we don't know what this toy is specifically, but it's something that can be used by a man and by a woman. So not too many options there, so you can be a little creative. But I guess the male cousin let her borrow it, and then when he came back demanding that she gives the toy back, she stabbed him. I guess he kind of was grabbing her by the elbow and stuff like that, so it's like maybe kind of somewhat in defense or a reflex or something. But yeah, stabbing your cousin over a dispute from a sex toy. Yep, that happens. The next one, this is not too crazy, but just because it's maybe relatable, is about daylight savings time. And it seems that a lot of Americans, like a majority of Americans, would like to permanently get rid of daylight savings time. I live in Arizona, and we actually don't do daylight savings time, so I don't have to worry about it that much. It does become a huge annoyance because when it comes to broadcast, because especially if I watch stuff on YouTube and channels that upload content on a consistent basis, I have to wait an extra hour to see that content. Or for TV too, it can really mess with TV schedules and stuff like that. But a lot of these are in the 60%, wanting to get rid of daylight savings. And even fun, the article I'm reading mentions Democrats, Independents, Republicans, and ages. It seems like the older the people are, the more they want daylight savings to go away. For example, 65 and plus, 77% of them said yes, they would get rid of daylight savings time. But if you look to under 30, it's 42%. And the next group tier from 30 to 44, 58% it jumps up, and then from 45 to 64, it jumps up to 69. Nice. But yeah, I'm wondering if we're ever going to see that. It's one of those things that been around. So it's one of those things you kind of hard to stop. But I wonder if it's over time we're just going to get rid of it, because I don't see the huge benefit of it. But yeah, a lot of people don't like daylight savings time. And the next article takes place in, I think, in the UK. Yeah, in the UK, about a giant mutant potato. And no, I'm not talking about myself. It's a potato that's nearly 8 kilograms. And it seems from reading the article, sometimes articles don't say too much, but it seems like they were really surprised by it. So I don't think it was really intentional. And they said this it weighed about 7.8 kilograms, which equals 17.2 pounds, so almost a 20-pound potato. And it looks freaky. Like the article says mutant, and it's also given the name Doug. So Doug the mutant potato. It looks really weird. Like I've seen some angles of it, and you almost can't believe it's a. Well, I guess you can believe it's a potato because it looks like it's like the shape. It almost looks like a turkey almost. It's about a big, weighs more probably than a lot of turkeys out there in terms of the ones you get from the grocery store. Since yeah, Thanksgiving, I just bought my turkey today, so that sounds familiar. But yeah, it's a crazy potato, um, and it looks like he plans to turn it into potato vodka. Just looking at the article, but it may set a new record because the article also says the previous world records was 10 pounds, 14 ounces, or 4.98 kilograms. So, yeah, fun story about a big mutant potato. I kind of glanced at the story, but let's read into it more. But the story is a cellmate passes too much gas, so his other inmate knocks out his two of his teeth. And looking at it, looks like it takes place in Florida, of all places. Um, Looks like someone who's been failing to register as a sex offender. So somebody beat him so bad he knocked out two of the man's teeth and broke one of his ribs, according to sheriff. Passes gas too often. It doesn't give any courtesy flushes when using the toilet. And yeah, so a really stinky cellmate. Yeah, but also a very short article and all that too. So maybe excessive farting, but also long nasty shit in terms of courtesy flush. But yeah, in Florida, someone can get the teeth kicked, knocked out for farting too much. And this last story I wanted to share, I don't know, it's kind of weird to say that it's scary, but it really sucks. It really says something about the American medical system. But basically, this woman went to an emergency room, was waiting for 7 hours, and just decided to leave without getting any treatment. Just because 7 hours in an emergency room, not just a hospital, an emergency room. And after she found out, she was billed $700 just for sitting in the ER room. And it looked like this happened in Atlanta. And yeah, it said like a couple weeks she got the bill. It was like $688. I think they show a picture of that. Was saying like she didn't even get the vitals taken or anything like that. No one called the name. I wasn't seen at all, but was charged nearly $700. I think that really sucks. I think it's like one of the things that, because the article says it's like a let me see what they called it, like a faculty fee or a emergency room visit fee. So I think it's like one of the things they add on top of the bill. On that, and that's it to me disgusting and scary. Like it makes me want to not ever go to a hospital or anything like that. It just disgusting. It makes you think of other countries and all that. And I think like all the things America has, because they're not pretty much a first world country or anything, what you want to call it. But stuff like that just seems like we're just behind the times, or it's disgusting and all that. And I think that's the healthcare or the company. Just give a broad statement that we're currently looking into the matter and follow up with the individual directly and stuff like that. But that almost $700 just to walk into a hospital, that's crazy. Like almost makes me say, no, you're not getting any information until someone texts my vitals or I'm seeing the doctor and stuff like that too. I even hear scary stories about like ambulance rides and how much those cost. Kind of remind me of this other content creator as well as. It was a channel podcast called Sleepy Cabin, and Psychic Pebbles, known as Zach Hadel. Like, he was talking about when he was really drunk and stuff like that, and like police were, something like that, like trying to get him to a hospital, like told him to get into ambulance, and he was like just was refusing because what that would mean financially and all that. But it's kind of just crazy. Like one of those things, like, oh my god, whatever you don't take me to the emergency room, don't call an ambulance because. Like sometimes it's like you hear stuff like I'd rather die than face those medical bills and all that, and that's kind of scary to think about, especially here in America. Okay, and then to end this podcast, I'm not sure if this is going to be short because I kind of started late and don't want to delay my streams. By the way, I stream on Twitch, description, all that follow. But I'm going to give that recipe I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. So this is something I kind of learned from a close friend. It has become a tradition. I know we always make it for Thanksgiving, and I made it a few times throughout the year. It feels like a good potluck go-to just because it's easy. But it's called Ambrosia Salad, and basically it's a fruit salad. I realized I guess just got passed down because it seems like when I looked it up or something like that, it seems like one of those really old-fashioned kind of dishes too. But basically, it's just kind of like a creamy fruit salad. And here's the recipe. Basically, we get a big can of fruit cocktails. We get the bigger can and heavy syrup. We get mini marshmallows. I think we use half a bag, and you use the other half for like sweet potatoes and stuff like that. So some mini marshmallows, half a bag, a tub of Cool Whip or whipped topping. You can use whatever store brand, but use whipped topping. I forget how much, because he usually makes it, my friend. And it's for texture too if you want, but coconut flakes. So you can put it in coconut flakes. Probably just add to consistency, whatever. So coconut flakes. A apple. Usually we get a Granny Smith apple, just cut up into pieces, as well as bananas. Usually like maybe 3 or 4. And yeah, just mix it all together, and it makes a really good dish. A very sweet one. So, because I do like fruit salad, I think I might like traditional fruit salad with like watermelon, melon, and bananas and grapes and stuff like that a little bit more, because it doesn't seem as sweet in terms of like this feels like a dessert kind of fruit salad. But it feels like fairly easy to make. Like you don't really, besides like if you add apple and banana, besides cutting up an apple and a few bananas, it's pretty easy to make dessert all together. And Ambrosia fruit salad. Yeah, so gonna have that for Thanksgiving, as well as all the traditional stuff like turkey and potatoes and stuff like that too. So yeah, so that would pretty much do it for this podcast. Again, I won't be putting one up next week. And I am kind of inspired to make some videos, so we'll see. So maybe it's kind of like more fan videos than anything else. But I got inspired by an article to make another one. Nothing too fancy, but I might feel more involved to do some more content on the channel. I do feel like I do consistent stuff, like streaming and stuff like that too. And I feel like that's, in a sense, kind of easy just to have content up there. Yeah, but I appreciate, the follows, the likes, the comments, the feedback, and all that. And sometimes even I have fun. It's like I feel like a broken record repeating myself, like dance like no one's watching, but you kind of want people to watch. So sometimes I had some fun streams where I think I only had like one stream where someone actually chatted. So that's how sad it's kind of, just to put that out there. But I'm having fun, and it's kind of a hobby than anything else. And I just recommend, if anyone's made it this far in the podcast, thanks. But if anyone is ever curious about like making content or streaming or doing this or that, even if you have like bare bones of tools or materials, just do it. If you find you can just enjoy it, just to have something to do, keep you busy, kind of really have structure or stuff like that. Maybe even this kind of helps with maybe public speaking or speaking in general and things like that. Or because sometimes I'm bad with like public speaking or articulating what I want to say or get across. I think sometimes that helps just to keep doing this. So yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later.